Hello everyone, I'm Alfian and today we are going to solve the Hackerrank challenge on the data structure section called the Sparse array. And for this particular challenge, we are tasked to solve a collection of array and we make an output of the result array right here from the queries array list right here if it's to count how many occurrences from the string list right here. And the description says there is a collection of input strings and a collection of query strings. For each query string, determine how many times it occurs in the list of input strings. Return an array of the result. And we have the string list of AB, AB, and ABC, and the queries of AB, ABC, and BC. We need to count the occurrences of the queries right here, which is AB right here, and insert it into our result array. Since AB has two occurrences from the string list, then we can assign it into the first element of the result. And the result array is following the queries structure. Let's say 2 right here, which is the same index number as the AB right here, because it's returning the how many AB occurrences that happens in the string list. And the ABC right here, which is 1 of ABC and 0 of BC, and it's only 1 because from the string list it has only one occurrence of ABC. Hence we are assigning 1 as the second index right here, which is the same index as the ABC. So let's implement our code right here. Since I am using the Java 7, if you want to use something else other than Java 7, then go ahead. But for this implementation, let me use Java 7, and we need to somehow declare something to carry both. If we look over here, the string list occurrences right here, we need to count how many occurrences of the string list. And let me visualize this shortly. Let's say for the first iteration, we can use the for loop here to iterate each of them. The string list right here for the first iteration has AB, and we can assign AB right here of the value of 1, and it occurs once. And for the next iteration, which is AB again, then we add it by 1, and 1 plus 1 is equals to 2. And for the next one, which is the last iteration, which is ABC, and we assign ABC as 1 because it occurs once and the iteration will stop. And then we need to somehow add a check from the queries array right here to check if AB occurs somewhere in the string list array, and check how many times it occurs. Since AB is occurred, then we need to match the queries right here from the category that we created as the pseudocode right here. And then we will insert this as in a form of array. And since AB has the value of 2 and it matches from the AB string check, then we can add 2 into the array. And then for the ABC, since it only has 1, then we need to insert it as the second parameter. And for the check, BC check, since BC is not contained anywhere inside the string list and it has no counter whatsoever or no occurrences, then we need to assign 0 anyway. And to carry both AB with the value and ABC with its value, we can use a nested array or two-dimensional array, but that will take us a lot of time to use it, and it's not convenient and readable because we are using the list string right here, and the output is only list integer, which is one dimension of integer array in a form like this: 2, 1, and 0. And to do that, in order to tackle this problem, we have to use some kind of hash map by declaring the map of the key. Since the key is the string itself, which is AB, the hash map contains key value pair, if you still remember about hash map, and the value itself is in a form of integer, and the data type of the map, of course, it will be integer. And we declare the name of the hash map called the hash map, and we construct our hash map by using new hash map constructor. And don't forget to invoke this because we are constructing the hash map. And for the data type, inside the angle brackets right here, we define our data type explicitly as the string, key, and the integer value. And to count the AB and ABC as one right here from the string list, then we need to use a for loop. Using the for loop to iterate every string of the string list, and in I it's equals 0 as long as I is below the, since we are using the array list of the string list, then we can use a method called the size. It's different from the array using the length property, but they are both similar, and I++. And then we can add a hash map dot put to assign our value as the one we listed right here, to categorize the list of occurrences using the key value pair. And the put method takes two parameters, the first one which is the key itself, and we can assign this as the string list, get the current iteration using the get iteration of it's I. So for the second parameter, we can retrieve the value from the hash map. If it contains anything or not, then we can add a fallback. If it's not, then we can add a fallback of 0. If it's already contain a value, then we can retrieve the value and add it by 1. To do that, I'm using the, let me enlarge this. I'm using the hash map dot get, and then we are getting the value which is the string list get I. And we, instead of using get, we use the get or default, and I will show you something later. And for the fallback value is 0. Why is it get or default? Using two parameters right here. And the string list.get.i, we are retrieving the value based on the key right here. Since we are using the AB has the value of 2, then we return 2 instead of 0, and 0 is just as the fallback if the hash map doesn't contain the value yet or the key yet. Let's say if we iterate the BC right here, since BC is 0, then if the iteration is pointing to the BC string of the string list.get right here, since BC is not found everywhere inside the hash map, then we can fall back it to 0 and then add it by 1. And then for the placeholder, let me use the system out print line to print our hash map content. And then for the return, I'm using the return new array list as a placeholder, array list of integer, since the function says we should return a list of integer, and we can construct our new array list as the placeholder. Let's run the code to see what is inside the hash map. Okay, so it says get or default, cannot find symbol, and it returns error. It's because if you look closely, get or default, if you hover over it, get or default is introduced since 1.8. Get or default method is only available in Java 8. In other words, we cannot use this since we are Java 7, which is the prior version of using the get or default method right here. And to get around that, we can add a check first. Let me comment this by using the control and forward slash. I believe it's on the same button as the question mark besides the shift key on your keyboard. So let's add an if check if the hash map using the .containsKey method of the string list .get of the current iteration. If it is, then we have to retrieve the value from the existing key, and then we add it by 1. To do that, we can use the hash map put for the first parameter string list .get I, and then for the retrieval value, we can use the hash map .get string list get again get I. And then I will show you something interesting after this. Get I and +1, and just like that. And we can add a else clause if the let's say if we are iterating on the BC and BC is not contained anywhere inside the hash map right here. Since it's not contained in the hash map, the if check will return false because it doesn't contain the key, and we can add a check to assign new one as Map.put string list the get of the current iteration. And for the second parameter, which is the value, we assign it as 1 because if you look closely, let me reiterate this. Let's say we declare a hash map and then the hash map value key value pair is empty. The content of the hash map is empty at first, and then for the first iteration of the string list, we have the AB right here. Since AB is not contained anywhere inside the hash map yet, and we assign new AB is in the hash map.put AB equals to 1, and it is 1 right here as the value. And for the next one, we check AB again of the string list since it's already contains key because AB is already declared right here for the first iteration. Then we need to use the put and then retrieving the value, which is 1 right here, retrieving the value using this get right here, and then add it by 1, and the 1 right here will be changed to 2 into 2. And then for the next iteration, which is ABC right here, since ABC is not contained anywhere inside the hash map, then the else clause will trigger and it will put a new string list of the current iteration and initialize it as the value of 1, and the ABC will be assigned as the value of 1. So let's run the code to see what is it about. And the debug output is in a form of hash map, still hash map, and we have the null value right here, which is invalid. Then we need to fix this. The +1 right here is placed inside the string list.get I of this hash map.get, and it is the wrong code or the wrong implementation. Let's cut the 1 from inside the parenthesis right here and make it outside the parenthesis, and it was my mistake and forgive me about that. So let's run this again, and there you have it. We have the proper value and it's not null at all. Okay, so it's because we are confused because of the hashmap.get, and then inside the hashmap.get method we have the string list.get again, and then we using +1. I will show you much more simpler approach. Instead of using the in I equals 0 and I is below the string list of the size, then we can use the for loop using the colon sign. To do that, since we are iterating our string list right here in a form of string data type, then we can declare it using the string, and then for the each value inside the string list we can declare it as s or str or string, and you can name it as you want. And for the sake of the video, I'm using the str, and then after the colon sign using the string list array, we define the name of the array of string list right here. It is the same thing as we using the for I equals 0 as long as I is below the string list the size and I++, and it's much more readable. And since we are iterating every string in a form of variable called the str right here, then we can replace the string list.get I right here. I'm using the Ctrl D to select one, Ctrl D again, Ctrl D again, and we are selecting multiple occurrences of the same code. And to replace this, I'm just typing str on my keyboard, and the rest follows to the things I type. And if you look over here, it's much more readable compared to the one using the for in I equals 0 and so on and so forth. So let's run the code again, and there you have it. We still have the same output as we did before, but it's much more readable. And I will show you something after this. We can add a check using the contains key right here instead by using the if else check right here, but disclaimer, it's much more about personal preferences. If you prefer one-liner, then I will show you this. If you prefer the much more verbose traditional if-else, then you can go ahead, because we are balancing between readability and efficiency. If you are more of the one-liner person, then let me do this by selecting all of the if-else check right here, using the control and comment this out, control and /, and we can declare just the same as if-else right here, check, using the Map.put, and we are putting the first parameter as the str or the string, and then for the second parameter we can add a check using the /containsKey right here as one-liner. It works the same way as using the JavaScript, you guess it, by using the ternary operator, and both languages are using the similar expression using the ternary operator, using the /map.containsKey. If you look closely, /containsKey has the return value of boolean true if this map contains a mapping for the specified key, if the key is found inside the map. If it's not, then we return false. Check if contains key. Inside the parameter, we can add a string of str, and then using the question mark and the colon mark. And for the question mark, after the question mark is executes after the map contains key returning true. And to do that, we insert after the question mark right here with the Map.get string +1. We execute our expression right here, just like on the true clause right here, or the if clause right here, if check clause. If it's not, then we can simply insert 1 as the else check after the colon sign. So in other words, we add a check right here, and the /containsKey return either true or false. If it's true, then we trigger our ternary operator right here after the question mark. If it's true, then after the question mark will triggers the expression, and if it's false, then it will triggers the block after the colon sign right here. So it works the same way. Let us run the code again, and there is no change at all. So there you have it. And in order to assign our value as much more arranged right here as 2, 1, and 0, following the queries array structure right here, which is AB. AB has the value of 1, and ABC has the value of, AB has the value of 2, and ABC has the value of 1 from the map right here. Then the ABC has the value of 0. To do that, we can simply iterate our queries array, but before that we are declaring our new list integer variable called the result or result array, you name it. We can use a new ArrayList constructor by copying this from the return, and then we should return our result later on. Return our result from the return expression right here, and we eliminate our system out print line map by using the for loop. We can use the same thing as the for colon loop right here. We are directly using the variable name instead of using the get, since the queries in the form of array list of data type of string. Then we can define for loop as the string data type right here, and the name of it will be query or queue or anything that you want. Query as the singular, and after the colon sign we define our array name, which is queries, or using the plural query. And we iterate the query array by assigning the result. Dot add. We can add a check. We can add, since add only has one parameter, is e element to be appended to this list, and add is only happens if we are working on a array list constructor right here. If we are working on normal array, then we have to assign it first, predefine it by declaring the length of the array, and we can assign it by addressing the index of the iteration. But for this one, it's much more dynamic using the add method, and we can add a check. Either the map has the value or has the key of the query, which is the AB right here. If it is, then we can return the hash map.get of the query value of the query key, and we return the value from the query string right here from the key value pair. And if it's not, then we simply return 0, because it's stated right here BC is not contained anywhere inside the string list, then it will return 0 anyway from the result array. And let's run the code, see if it works. Okay, so let's submit this. So that's about it. I hope you understand my explanation. If you still don't understand, you can ask me in the comment section, or if you have any better solutions regarding this challenge, tell us what you think in the comment section. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.